Hello, welcome to another episode of Play Cool Songs. Today we're going to check out Me and My Woman, which I have really learned it from the Robben Ford version on the Keep On Running album. And that's how I play it with my ensembles, my trio especially. But it goes way back. There's the John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers version, which is super cool. The Shuggy Otis version is super cool as well. But yeah, I kind of take Robben Ford's version as a reference for this video and how I play it live. Essentially, it's a 12 bar in the key of G. I really hear home base for this song as, you know, G7, chord 4 being my C9, and then chord 5 as my D7 with the sharp 9. So that's like Hendrix chord, right? And then I always think of that as like the James Brown funky E9, C9 chord. And then back to G7, but as I hear it with Robben's version, he's really playing on the suspended 4 over the G, or essentially I'm adding a C note to my G triad. Yeah. Which is a really pretty sound, and he just kind of lets that hang there under the vocal. So the suspension, as my high school music teacher explained it, was me just kind of hanging a note on the triad. So I always just kind of liked that as a visual. So I kind of play it as you know, a G chord like so, and then I'm just hanging that C note and then resolving down to the B. So that's all happening on that G string there. Okay, within the chord. He will play around with that as an idea in different places on the neck. So I kind of like this chord. You know, I hear that as well in there. So really it's like a kind of a G13 with that C suspension in there. Yeah, it's just a lovely chord idea that Robben uses in a few different songs, but I'm resolving down that way as well. You could also kind of think of it like here's my G, and I could play, you know, the suspended C to there. So kind of thinking out of that chord shape there as well. So there's lots of nice ways to do it. You know, you could think about the D shape there too. Yeah, there's another way to do it, just out of your G chord there. So, you know, I think someone like Robben Ford is such a master of the fretboard and his, you know, chord voicings. He's going to be playing through a lot of those different ideas across the fretboard in a performance of this song, just to keep the harmony moving and that variation. Yeah, it keeps it really interesting for the audience. And, you know, I just love that about his playing, and always get a lot out of transcribing his performances on this. So they're just a few ideas that I take into my own version of it when I'm playing live. You know, the C for me will kind of sit there. I like that version of C9, or that version of C9. And then D, I might play like that. I might play like that. I might play like that. You know, depending on my mood, they're sort of my go-to voicings. So yeah, in terms of like lead lines and things on this, firstly we should start with the riff. There is a riff for the turnaround. I almost forgot that. So here's what happens at the end of each verse. So this is kind of happening at the end of my verse progression, which I'll just play through for you once so you got some context. And then riff. so that's all happening in unison with the horn section, I think, on his version, but it's just like a bar of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2. Or, you know, I hear that as well. So it's all kind of happening out of this fragment of the G minor scale. So if I just take that as a scale fragment for the purpose of an exercise, and then I sit like an open G string underneath that kind of lick. That then leads into, you know, something I would explore with, you know, my students in a guitar lesson here. So. You know, and the key of G is, you know, a great place for it because I've just got that open G string right there. And interesting things just start happening when I play these little 2-note ideas down the scale. I tend to do that a lot now without thinking. If I'm in the key of G, I'll just kind of reach down with a finger and just start plucking the open G string there on top of it. Is another kind of cool idea. So I play around with this progression in the key of G, just trying to bring in some open string ideas, because, yeah, it just kind of starts me thinking about voicings and the way I can play with these simple chords to just introduce some pedal tones that sit underneath the voicing. And yeah, it just makes things kind of sound interesting and cool. It just sort of simmers there underneath the chord that's happening at the time. So okay, and then into the D. Here's a lick I got from Brent Mason. Okay. So I'm going 5 and 7 on the E and B string, then plucking the open E. Now I'm down here 3, 5, and then open B, 2, 4, and the open G. Landing on a D chord there. Yeah, just some ideas that I put into my version of this song. Hopefully that's useful for you out there as well. When I'm soloing on this, you know, I kind of think, let's stay to G7 and try and keep it in a major sort of feel. When we go to the C, D. So yeah, just freestyling some ideas there. Feel free to take my licks or criticize them. Yeah, for the most part, just thinking about open strings, how I can tie them into my chord voicings there. Yeah, it's just a really cool progression and a nice one to listen to and just pick apart some ideas that, you know, maestros like Robben Ford will use as well. So check it out, and thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you for the next one. Bye.